Hey everybody, it's David coming to you from a pretty solemn place today. The name of this place is Oradour-sur-Glane, where during World War II, 1944, 642 people lost their lives here. The entire town was killed, included women, children, men, by the Nazis. And right after the war ended, Charles de Gaulle, who was the president at the time, decided that this town would never be touched again, and it would keep the same shape so that people can remember and see the ravages of war. So this entire town was not touched. You will still see burned out cars on the side of the street. You will still see pots and pans hanging on the walls in the buildings. You'll still see sewing machines and a lot of other things here. One of the applications that I was thinking of as we begin to wrap this up with Lesson 7 this week and Lesson 6 review for servant leadership is that some of the people who actually were responsible for killing people here were actually their leaders in the past. And so when the Nazis came in, some of the local leaders said, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And so they became part of the Nazi group and then actually killed their own people. And so you begin to think about servant leadership, and that certainly is not what we're talking about at all. So this is a really solemn place. I was here 25 years ago. And came back this time, and they built a big memorial here on the outside. But again, things have not changed one bit on the inside. So let's talk about Lesson 6 today. We talked about leadership exemplars through that. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on these. I put some discussion board posts and a few other things out I hope you had a chance to look at this week as it related to leadership exemplars. Another discussion board, we had 2 this week, was on situational leadership, and then the paper this week was on self-leadership. And so I'll be anxious to read your discussion board posts. I've already read many of them, and also see your papers a little bit later in the week. Well, like as I said, this is the final week, week 7. I always say this, it seems like it flies by to me, maybe a little slower for you, right? But Lesson 7, a little bit easier this week. You have a discussion board. That's kind of humorous, but it talks about being the first follower. And think about this as you're watching that video this week. Can you be a leader if you have no followers? Think about that for a second, okay? So take a look at that video and let me know what you think. And then the final assignment this week, by the way, you can write the final assignment in first person, because what I'm asking you to do is to review your thoughts on leadership, servant leadership over the last few weeks. Let me know if they've changed at all. Let me know if you go back and take that assessment we had in week 1, if that's changed at all. My hope is, as I mentioned last week, is not that you learn a lot about servant leadership, but it's that you become a servant leader. And so that's my hope and my prayer for you as we go forward. Okay? If you need me this last week, again, I'm still in France, but I will be totally accessible, so just let me know. All right? Take care. Have a great day. Talk with you soon.